Welcome back to What's New. As countless businesses were destroyed and buildings burned, some are upset with how President Trump is handling the nationwide protests. On a call with governors earlier today, the president called for more force to end the violent protests. Alice Barr joins us now from Washington, D.C. Alice?
Yeah, Jay, President Trump no doubt has seen and heard these protests outside the White House over the past several days, and that is really just a microcosm of the pain and the rage that are gripping this country.
As grief and boiling anger over police killings of black people seize cities from coast to coast, President Trump today demanding governors use force to take back the streets. Sources who listened to a video teleconference telling NBC News the president told governors, quote, "Most of you are weak," urging them to dominate and make more arrests. The comments echoing the president's weekend tweets, deriding Democratic leaders while pushing for law and order. Critics asking why the president has yet to formally address the nation days into this crisis.
We need the president to address this issue, to acknowledge that systemic racism is now and has been a problem in America.
For 3 days now, protests have raged outside the White House. The fires and flashbangs giving President Trump an up-close view of the turmoil across the country and briefly forcing him into an underground bunker Friday night. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser imposing a 7 p.m. curfew after nearly 90 people were arrested yesterday when peaceful protests gave way to chaos and looting overnight.
Smashed windows and looting are becoming a bigger story than the broken systems that got us here.
President Trump's presumptive Democratic rival, Joe Biden, meeting with supporters in a Delaware church today and holding a virtual roundtable with mayors.
Well, people are angry. We need that anger. We need that to compel us to move forward.
Calls for action across a divided nation, insisting that only understanding the source can extinguish the flames.
The protests have really taken focus off of coronavirus, and medical experts are worried that these days of mass gatherings could lead to devastating new cases of the virus. Jay?
Alice, certainly that is a legitimate concern. Before we let you go, Minneapolis has obviously been the epicenter of these protests. I know that the family of the deceased actually had a second autopsy performed, and the results of this one were different. The first one showing no asphyxiation. This one comes back with a different result. Any idea at all how that might impact either a change of charges here or perhaps future protests?
Yeah, that is a serious question, having that conflict between the two autopsies that have been revealed. Certainly the call in Minneapolis is still to have all 4 of the officers that were involved all charged, and the family has said they would have liked to see higher charges against the main officer who had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. So it's a question remains to be seen what change that might have, because protests had kind of been winding down there even as they were ramping up in other parts of the country. Potential that this could shift the picture yet again in that tumultuous city of Minneapolis.
All right, Alice Barr with us tonight from Washington, D.C. Alice, thank you very much. We appreciate it.